Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Stanley with Standley Handcrafted, and today I wanted to talk about picking out tins, what to look for, what to stay away from, some of the things that you can do with tins to potentially make them a little bit stronger or make them last a little bit longer, or basically make them a little bit safer depending on where they're burning. One of the reasons why it's a good idea to really pay attention to your tins is tins can get extremely hot. It's a little bit thinner material than the glass, so the glass will actually hold heat a little bit better than the tins do, whereas the tins can really heat up. And the thing that you'll notice where they get a little bit unsafe is if somebody has a tin like this and they're burning it on a wood surface. The tin can really heat up along the bottom of this, and it can actually start to char or burn the wood surface. Now, of course, you definitely shouldn't burn most candles on a wood surface, but a lot of people don't know that. So if you just Google candle fires or anything like that, you'll see a lot of but candles that go bad, and it's not just tin ones, it's glass ones, it's everything, and you'll see a lot of those on wood surfaces or materials that don't hold up well to fire. Now obviously it's a good idea to put any one of your candles onto like a hot plate or like a porcelain coaster or something like that, basically something to elevate it so that if the tin or the glass does heat up, it's going to hit a surface that's going to reduce some of the heat that's coming off of that vessel itself. So I've got a couple different tins here, and if you do any Google search for tins, you're going to come up with a dozen different ones, probably more than that, but some of the most popular ones are going to be this style right here. These you can get from Candle Science or Lone Star, pretty much any of the larger candle websites. This one is a 6-ounce tin. You can get them in 8 ounces, all different varieties. This is a good tin to get. The one thing that I do like about this one quite a bit is it's a single piece of metal, so there's no seams anywhere on this one. Another good thing about this one that you want to look out for if you're going to be doing tins is these do have a little bit of an elevated foot ledge, or a kind of a foot peg or a ledge. So this will actually hold it above a surface just a little bit. It's not going to make a huge difference, but it is better than something just sitting on a flat surface. This is another one here from Wooden Wick. This one is basically the exact same thing minus the foot pegs on the bottom of this one. This is an 8-ounce tin. You'll also notice that it is a single piece. Now there are a lot of tins out there, and I've got one right here that has, let me see if I can get to the actual seam. So you can see right here, this one has a seam going down the side of it. So this is not one piece of tin that's pressed into basically a candle vessel. So you've got a seam all the way around the bottom of this one, and you've got one up the side of this one. So if you were going to get a tin like this, and I definitely don't recommend this one. This one is from Dream Vessels, and they even recommend using these for something other than candles. Very nice vessels. I love these. I use these for melts. I definitely shy away from using these in candles just because of the seams. I definitely shy away from these in candles just because of the seams, and Dream Vessels will tell you the same thing. They say they're not, on their website it says they're not suitable for candles. And the reason that they're not really suitable for candles is just because metal, when it gets hot, it expands. So if you look at that seam right there and the seam along the bottom, this candle right here is going to be a triple wick. And once that gets burning, probably 3, 4, or even 5 hours into it, that metal is going to get really hot, and those seams are going to expand a little bit. And what can happen is all that melted wax, this can open up and the wax can start to leak down the sides. And there are definitely some pictures out there. I've had one of my testers do the exact same thing, which is the biggest reason that you want to stay away from tins that have any type of seam in them. Now, of course, I do have a video that shows how to seal these things, because there are people out there that want to know how to use these as candles. So I have a video that shows exactly how to seal them. I believe I mentioned in the video. If I don't, I'm going to mention it here now. Just because you seal these with a high heat silicone to protect that, it doesn't mean that it's always going to work. So you could still seal the heck out of these, and that's exactly what I did with one of my testers. Sealed the bottom, and then I sealed the side right there. And probably about 4 hours into it, it started to expand and let a little bit of the oil start coming down. Now, the reason that's such a big deal is basically once those wicks get really hot, you get a good 1/4 to a 1/2 inch melt pool in there. If that oil, or that wax, excuse me, if that wax leaks out the side, you're basically exposing more wick, which is going to create a bigger flame, which is going to, it's basically going to make the tin expand even more. It's going to open up more, let out more wax. Those wicks are going to get extremely large and burn very fast. And these can basically turn into a real big fire hazard. Now, I will say that's not just with tins. You can do that with the glass jars. I'm sure everybody has seen the glass jar that's a completely solid piece like this one. One of the big candle manufacturers out there sells them. I'm not going to say their name, but everybody knows who I'm talking about. They sell a 3-wick version of this one. Those can get extremely hot also. So you're not safe just because you went with glass. You can still get a dangerous candle with glass as you can with tin. So if you do go with a tin like this, you will definitely want to be very careful. Again, I would recommend not going with a tin with a seam in it. And I'm gonna show some more. They have like a lot of garden pail tins that have the seam down the side. I'll try to put some pictures up here to show what I'm talking about. Anytime you're looking at a tin, you really need to be careful with the wick size, how hot it's gonna get, the seams, just because metal expands and contracts when it's hot and cool. So that's definitely something, if you're burning a candle over and over, this seam right here is gonna expand, contract, depending on how many times you burn that. And even if you have silicone sealing this entire thing, you still could be exposed to a leak in there somewhere along the burning life of the candle. Whereas something like these, you're not gonna run into that. These can get extremely hot, just like I said. Glass is the exact same way. Any candle is gonna get extremely hot. But with the tin ones, if these get hot, it's not gonna open up. You're still gonna have basically a vessel that's going to hold the wax, and it's not going to leak out anywhere. And again, one of the things, like I mentioned earlier, that you can do to make your tins a little bit safer is to, I almost go to the side of underwicking a tin that I probably wouldn't do in glass, just because the glass can help heat up, create a little bit bigger melt pool. I tend to underwick, if I can, underwick a tin just a little bit so that it doesn't heat up the tin too much. If you've made any candles in tins, you'll notice that these can heat up extremely fast, and if you're overwicked even just by one or just a little bit, this entire tin can heat up and basically melt all the wax inside the tin. I've had that happen a couple times in testers to where I put like too big of a wick in there, let's call it like an HTP 1212 or a 126 or something like that. It got the tin so hot that it just melted the wax all the way down to the bottom. Now, of course, that's not what you want, which is why I lean towards underwicking tins a little bit. Now, you won't always be able to do that just because of the wax, the oil combo, the wick that you're using. So if you're using an LX or a CD, you might not be able to go the one size down to where it burns it to where you still have a little bit of a wax edge to basically keep an even melt pool and not heat up those sides too bad through the life of the candle. And like I said before, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a bunch of different tin options, and if I can think of anything outside of these tins, I'll try to put it up in here as well. But I definitely wanted to go over this one because I saw it pop up in the group recently, and a lot of people are starting to go towards a lot of tins, especially with springtime coming around. A lot of people like the garden pails, the bucket style or pail style that you see in a lot of gardens, and most of those are not a single piece of tin pressed into the bucket shape. They are a piece of tin that's wrapped and it has a seam down the side. So it's definitely something that you want to pay attention to because it can get out of hand really fast, and it's something that a lot of people just don't think about when they first get into candles, or even people that are into candles for a long time. It's not something that you think about. A lot of these vessels will come sealed, but they're not sealed well. And that is definitely the case with the Dream Vessels version. You can see down here, it does come with a little bit of a seal down there, but it's definitely not enough to protect it from getting too hot. So that's pretty much it on this one. I just wanted to get this out there. Like I said, I see a lot of this pop up in the group recently, a lot of people talking about tins, and there's a lot of discussion going back and forth on how to keep them safe. And of course, if I glossed over or missed something, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to go through and kind of update the video or catch it in a future video or catch it in an update video later. And of course, we're still going through the lockdown, but the lockdown is still, it's about ready to come to an end. We've had to cancel. I think everybody that watches the video or is in the Facebook group knows that we've canceled some of the workshops. We did Dallas, we canceled Dallas, and we canceled Tampa, but we are moving forward with the Seattle one, which is in July. I believe it's July 24th. I'll have to look on the website again, but it's at the end of July. That one should be wide open. We're definitely selling tickets for that one. I think we've already got about half the class full on Saturday and a few people on Sunday. So definitely jump over there. If you want to come to the Seattle candle making class, definitely jump over to theinnovativemaker.com. Check out the dates and the different ticket options that are there, because we're absolutely moving forward with this one. It should be at a point where everybody can kind of freely move about and fly again, drive in, and of course, big gatherings. And then of course, if you can't make the candle workshops, I have the ebooks on the website. I have links to all the ebooks down in the video description down below, and they're basically like a 19-20 page step-by-step full color guide on how to make candles with soy wax, virgin coconut soy, cocoa apricot cream, joy wax, and 6006. And I just released a new melt book, which is 464, making melts with 464 soy. And then of course I've got another section in there where I add a little bit of 4625 to make the melts just a little bit harder, give them a little nicer edge. So if you're interested in making melts, that ebook is out now as well. And of course you can follow me on any of the social media platforms that I've listed down below, Instagram, Facebook, my website, the email address if you want to reach out and ask me questions, or anybody out there that's looking for consulting. I have all that stuff listed down below. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.